Lynn Lampman here, pastor of St. James United Church of Christ in Havertown, Pennsylvania, with our video, For the Grieving, What to Do and Say. Anne Lamott writes, "You will lose someone you can't live without, and your heart will be badly broken, and the bad news is that you never completely get over the loss of your beloved. But this is also the good news. They live forever in your heart that is broken, but it doesn't seal back up, and you come through. It's like having a broken leg that never heals perfectly, that still hurts when the weather gets cold, but you learn to dance with the limp." It is our hope and prayer that if you are grieving, you find this video informative and normalizing. And if you know someone who is grieving, that you will be better equipped to be with them after you have watched and put into practice the information and suggestions in this video. There are many ways to describe the phases of grief. I have found this model the one most helpful. Phase 1, numb. The grieving person feels numb. This allows the grieving person to survive emotionally. A person in this phase of grief needs practical help with day-to-day things, as well as in making decisions, because it all just seems to be too much. Phase 2 is a time of searching and yearning. Some people would say it's a time in which we pine for that person to return. It is an emotional time that might include weeping, anger, anxiety, and confusion. We need to let people cry, get angry, feel anxious, and be confused. Phase 3, disorganization and despair. During this phase, things can get lost, appointments get forgotten, it takes forever to get ready to go out, and it seems like it is so hard to get one's act together. During this phase, the grieving person desires to withdraw and disengage from others and activities they regularly enjoyed. Pining and yearning becomes less intense, while periods of apathy, meaning an absence of emotion, and despair increase. We must respect people's desire to be alone and be by themselves, and give time and space for them to withdraw, be apathetic, and even despairing. The final phase is reorganization and recovery. During this time, the grieving person begins to return to a new state of normal. Weight loss may be regained, energy levels increase, and an interest to return to activities of enjoyment. Grief never ends, but thoughts of sadness and despair are diminished while positive memories take over. Now let's look at what we might say and do for the grieving. Let's start first, though, with a brief review on what is not helpful to the grieving, i.e., what we should not say. 1, don't say you understand. I know what you're feeling. I went through the exact same thing. 2, avoid beginning the sentence with at least. At least you had a good life with her. At least he's in heaven now. At least you have 2 other children. At least you are young and can get married again. At least you didn't have to go through the pain of childbirth. 3, avoid trying to explain what God is doing behind the scenes. God is making you stronger through this. This baby must just have not been meant to be. Cancer is a gift from God because you are so strong. 4, avoid attempts to minimize their pain. Be happy he's no longer suffering and it is a better place. It's okay, you can have other children. Be glad that he died at an early age. He doesn't have to experience pain and heartache on this earth. 5, avoid comparing what the person is going through with anything else or anyone else's problems. It's not as bad as the time my brother lost his wife and his son on the same day. Don't place a timetable, number 6, on their recovery. Give it a week and you will forget it. Time will heal all wounds. The rule of thirds can be helpful regarding grief, and it goes something like this. Of the people you know, 1/3 will offer support. In other words, be helpful. 1/3 will be negative and correcting. In other words, annoying at best and hurtful at worst. And 1/3 will not be helpful or hurtful. In other words, they will be benign or do nothing. Now let's talk about some things we can do for those who are grieving. 1, provide a safe place. Allow them to hurt. Do not hush up or cover over or ignore the hurt feelings they are having. Allow them to cry. Let it out. It's okay for you to cry with them. Give permission to feel what they feel. Let them feel it. Let them work it through. Don't correct them or try and stop them from expressing their feelings, whatever they may be. 2, ride the roller coaster with them. Grief is a roller coaster of many ups and downs. The best we can do during the roller coaster of grief is for us to encourage them to embrace and befriend their feelings, because the only way to move forward is to hurt. 3, invite them to tell their story. What their relationship was like with the one who died, details of the death, emotions they're going through, fears and struggles, what it's been like. 4, assure them with what is normal. Common symptoms of grieving can be dizziness, fatigue, inability to sleep, sleeping all the time, increased allergic reactions, hyperactivity, trembling, headache, empty feeling in the stomach, weakness in the muscles, chest pain or heart problems, oversensitivity to noise, and the loss of weight or gaining weight, to name a few. 5, give them the time they need. There is no timetable for grief. Each must grieve in their own way and in their own time. We must be patient, loving, and kind, as those who grieve struggle to come to grips with their new normal. All this takes time, and what is one person's timetable is not that of another. Thanks for listening in, and we hope that we have provided some inspiration and encouragement for the grieving and those who seek to be with them in their journey of grief. You can find out more about St. James United Church of Christ online at www.stjamesucc.org.